When Joseph Campbell passed away, I found myself constantly reminded of his influence. He wasn't just a scholar of mythology, he was someone who understood the pulse of human existence. I'd walk through Times Square feeling the energy of the crowd, and I remember something Campbell once said. He described seeing the myths of Oedipus and Beauty and the Beast right there in the streets of New York, alive in the people passing by. To him, mythology wasn't just an ancient relic. It was embedded in the everyday experience of being human. And in many ways, that's exactly how we need to think about stories we tell through our businesses. It's important to invest in your story, a cinematic brand story that speaks not just to the minds, but to the hearts of your audience. Because at the end of the day, that's what stories do. They connect us, they unify us, and they speak to something much deeper than logic alone can reach. Joseph Campbell understood this on a profound level. He believed that mythology spoke to universal truths about human condition, love, death, suffering, triumph. And these are the same truths that resonate in the stories we tell today. Think about that. Whether we're talking about myths of ancient Greece or modern blockbusters of today, what we're really talking about are the stories that tap into the essence of what it means to be human. When Campbell watched Star Wars at the Skywalker Ranch, he was thrilled by the way George Lucas had used the hero's journey, a timeless mythological structure, to tell a modern story. Luke Skywalker wasn't just a character, he was the embodiment of every person's journey through hero's journey. And that's what we need to understand about storytelling in the context of our brands. Your brand isn't just a product or a service, it's an experience. It's a story. And that story needs to take your audience on a journey. Like the hero in Campbell's mythology, your audience is looking for meaning, for connection. They're looking for something that resonates with their own struggles, their own hopes, their own dreams. And as a brand, it's your responsibility to craft a narrative that invites them into that journey. You see, we live in a world that's flooded with information, with technology, with solutions to every problem at our fingertips. But Campbell and Lucas, through his films, understood something vital. Technology isn't enough. Our machines, our computers, our tools can't give us meaning. What gives us meaning is our ability to connect with the deeper currents of life. It's our ability to tell stories that speak to our intuition, to our inner selves. In a business context, this means your brand needs to be more than just functional. It needs to be emotional. It needs to tap into the mythological structure of human experience. Campbell once said that the reason we have rituals like the robes judges wear in court is to evoke a sense of authority and respect that goes beyond the role itself. That's what your brand story should do. It should elevate your product or service beyond the transactional into something ritualistic, something that carries meaning. Think of the greatest brands in the world. Apple, Nike, Disney. They don't just sell products, they tell stories. They evoke a sense of belonging, a sense of identity, a sense of purpose. They create communities around shared values, shared beliefs, and shared experiences. And that's what you need to do with your brand. Your audience isn't just buying from you, they're participating in a story. And like all great stories, that story needs to resonate with something deep within them. It needs to speak to their hero's journey. It needs to help them themselves. It needs to help them see themselves as part of something bigger, something meaningful. When James Cameron was making Avatar, he wasn't just trying to create a visually stunning film with crazy action sequences. He was telling a story about humanity's connection to the natural world, about a need for balance between technology and intuition. The Avatar story resonated on a global scale, but not because of special effects, because it spoke to something primal, something that every human being understands on a deep level. The need to protect what we love, the need to belong, and the need for meaning. And that's exactly what your brand story can do. It can give your audience a sense of meaning, a sense of belonging, a sense of purpose. But to do that, you need to invest in your story. You need to craft it with the same care and attention as the great myth makers of old, because in the end, that's what people remember. They remember the stories. They remember how those stories made them feel. And that feeling is what builds lasting connections, what creates loyalty and turns customers into advocates. So I challenge you to think differently about your brand. Don't just think of it as a product or a service. Think of it as a story that speaks to the deepest parts of human experience, that resonates with the universal truths of life, because that's what people are looking for. In a world full of noise, they're looking for something real, something meaningful, something that helps them navigate their own hero's journey. And that's the power of storytelling. That's the power of myth. And that's the power your brand can harness if you're willing to invest in it. Comment story below if you're ready to invest in your story and having it told in the most powerful way possible.
This guy.
Oh, I love his work.
I would love to shoot with this son of a bitch. That's all I thought when I looked at it. It's like, I'd love to play with you and your camera.
Eric.